Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our first ever multi-platform water service. Our first time gathering together with our water in the Commons in 3 years. I can't even believe it. A few weeks ago, I preached on how the journey of faith is a spiral and how we return to things again and again, but we are different. And so the lessons and the learnings and the experiences of the familiar story, the familiar ritual is different. And so as we return, for some of us, as we do this for the first time for some of us, as we notice how we as individuals are different and how we as a community are different, there are a few seats that used to always be filled here in our community that are empty. May we know that we are part of a continuity, a flow, a river, an experience that continues and that is big enough to hold us all as we change and grow and transform in our own lives. So come, let us gather. Come, let us worship together. Our service today is built around a poem. It is a poem called "The First Water is the Body." It's by Natalie Diaz. Natalie Diaz was born and raised in the Fort Mojave Indian Village in Needles, California, on the banks of the Colorado River. She is Mojave and an enrolled member of the Gila River Indian tribe. And she's a former professional basketball player, a winner of the Pulitzer Prize, and a MacArthur Foundation Fellow. She teaches creative writing at the Arizona State University, and she writes, "The Colorado River is the most endangered river in the United States. Also, it is part of my body. I carry a river. It is who I am, Aha Makaf. This is not a metaphor. When a Mojave says, Inye Mikaf Chelu, we are saying our name. We are telling a story of our existence. The river runs through the middle of my body. So far, I have said the word river in every stanza. I don't want to waste water. I must preserve the river in my body. In future stanzas, I will try to be more conservative. The Spanish called us Mojave, Colorado, the name they gave our river because it was silt red thick. Natives have been called red forever. I have never met a red native, not even on my reservation, not even at the Museum of the American Indian, not even at the largest powwow in Parker, Arizona. I live in the desert along a dammed blue river. The only red people I've seen are white tourists sunburned after being out on the water too long."
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to People's Church. Whether this is your first time at People's Church, or you come every Sunday, or anywhere in between, I welcome you. This morning's words of welcome come from Molly Hoosh-Gordon. We gather together this morning, tenderly, like drops of dew on a leaf of grass, hopefully, like gathered raindrops in a cloud, squeezing, like water rushing in a stream to the sea, like groundwater pulled up from a well. We gather from every direction, for another year of growth and depth, another year of companionship and hope, another year of learning to love this world. We gather like the water that joins us across all of creation, the water that connects us within and without, merging and flowing across the entire world. My name is Laura McClellan, and I'm from the Sunday Services Committee. The church is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association and part of the tradition of liberal religion. Here, our mission is to be a beloved community, embracing and serving our diverse world. Welcome, everyone.
And now, announcements. Settle in. There are so many today. But I think that is the sign of the return of activity, and that is a good thing, right? First, today is an intergenerational service, which you've probably figured out by now, but it means that our nursery is open for our youngest children, kind of back that way if you're here in person. But otherwise, we are expecting everybody to remain in the commons. And if you need to color or fidget or play with toys, whether you are 5 or 55 or 85, there are baskets and colored pencils and all kinds of things to help keep your hands busy so your mind can pay attention. We had an ambitious plan for today after the service that included a slip and slide and water games. And it looks like Mother Nature decided to just make everything wet for us anyway. So if you want, you could go out on the hill and just slide down with no help from anything else. But we are not having organized games outside because we're expecting thunderstorms. We invited people to bring finger food for a potluck. As those of you here in person saw, there's tables set up in the foyer if you want to have some food after the service. Feel free, navigate safety and risk the way you make sense for you. We are encouraging folks who would like to socialize while keeping their masks on to move through the double doors into the welcome desk foyer area, and that will be a masked socializing area, while over here will be a free-for-all because you can't eat and keep a mask on. Do what makes sense for you. Today at 12:30 in room 19, we have our next series of our Inquirers class. This is a class for newcomers and new members mostly, but open to anybody. And it's focused on chalice circles and pastoral. So that class is for newcomers or anybody who wants to learn more about our small group ministry or how we care for each other at the church. Next, pasties are back, which is very exciting, but they're only back if you make them. So we have sign-ups online or in the foyer. It's starting next weekend, and so we need a few more people, especially on the Saturday morning shift where the pasties are assembled, if we're going to have any to eat and sell this year at our holiday bazaar. Okay, our new fiscal year began in July. We're grateful for folks who have made their pledges, and we encourage those of you who haven't yet to start. And, okay, next section of announcements. I told you there were a lot. Next Sunday is going to be a jam-packed day at People's Church. Our service is celebrating our gender and sexuality journeys. It's for all ages. For part of the service, I'm hoping you all can respond to questions that I will then share your answers anonymously woven together in the service. The questions are, how has your sexuality or gender identity or gender expression changed in your lifetime? And when do you feel most at home in your gender? So if you have an answer to either of those, I invite you to send them to me or call me up this week, and we will share those anonymously in the service. And we're also, as part of the service next week, the Kittens, a drag queen group, are going to be performing here, which I am so excited about. And for them, it's their first church gig, which is great. They're pretty excited too. They usually perform in bars. And I know for many of us, it's going to be our first drag show, so I have a little bit of etiquette. Some of it is just good manners. Don't touch people without being invited very clearly to touch them. Give people space to do their performance. And part of a drag show is offering tips to the performers. So we are paying them, obviously, to come, but it's part of the show. So I encourage you to bring small bills and cash if you're coming in person. And I know we don't all carry cash anymore, so do that. And then you'll have a chance to interact and tip them for their wonderful performance. They're a very talented group. So bring your small bills for the drag queens, and we're having a special collection for Lincoln School to support our partnership with them next week too. So bring your large bills to support Lincoln Elementary School and help the teachers get all of the things they need for their classrooms. So just show up and be generous in all of the ways. Because of copyright issues and the queens are performing to recorded music, this service will not be available on YouTube. So come in person or on Zoom next week, 10:45 for this performance. And next week after the service, we're having a potluck. The board is providing sandwich fixings, and we encourage everybody to bring a side dish or a dessert to share. And at 1 p.m., we're having our next congregational conversation. We've been having conversations about who we are and where we hope we are going as a church, based on the disagreements and differences of opinions that made themselves known when we adopted our new bylaws last February. So this conversation is focused on what is the heart of Unitarian Universalism and what we might need to change to better live into that idea. So there'll be small group conversation and childcare. The online option for that conversation will be the following Monday at 7 p.m. I wish there were online options for potlucks, but we haven't yet figured out how to send a plate through the internet, but I'm sure somebody is working on that. So I encourage you to make a day of it here next Sunday. And before we go farther, we're going to take a moment to greet each other across our ways of being together. So first, I invite everybody who's here in the which way are we doing it, Reed? Okay, so first, we have the people who are on Zoom are now big on the screen in the comments. I invite you, if you want to turn your camera on and give a big wave. We are so glad you are with us. People in the comments are waving back, even though you can't see them at this moment, but they'll get a chance. We're so glad you're with us. Okay, and now take that waving energy, people who are here in person, and direct it at the cameras at the back of the commons, and give a big wave. We are so glad we're able to do this and be connected in this way. Now we get to sing. Our introit today is going to lay down my sword and shield. It is a song that was born out of the enslavement of Black people in the American South. It is a song about baptism and freedom, inspired by words attributed to the prophet Isaiah. He shall judge between the nations and shall arbitrate for many people. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So I invite you into whatever posture helps you sing your very best and gives you the most joy. And let us sing.
Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Gonna study war no more. You ain't gonna study war. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna shake hands around the world, everywhere I go, everywhere I go, everywhere I go. Gonna shake hands around the world, everywhere I go. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no
Aaron Strom is lighting our chalice this morning. Thirsty by Gregory Pelly. And so we gather from the ebb and flow of our lives, thirsty for connection to ourselves, thirsty for connection to others, thirsty for connection to the larger life. As we light this chalice, may all who gather here be filled with joy and hope, filled with compassion and love. Here may we be filled so that we may pour ourselves out into the world.
Hello, Unitarian Universalists. I'm the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, President of your Unitarian Universalist Association. It is so good to be with you for another season of Ingathering. This time marks the end of summer, when we come together to renew our commitments to each other, to our Unitarian Universalist communities, and to begin another vital year of ministry. In the summer months, I hope that you and your loved ones found some time to rejuvenate your bodies and spirits, to rest, to enjoy the long summer days, to pursue hobbies that bring you joy. I know that the world is all too much, and it matters that we take time to rest. For rest is necessary for the quality of our lives, of our ministries, and of our spirits. We are all living in what I have come to call a liminal time, a time in between. The pandemic has upended so much. After 2 years plus of virtual and hybrid gatherings in our congregations, the ways in which people connect to religious community has broadened and new patterns are still emerging. On so many levels, what comes next is still unfolding and being imagined. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to care for each other and to create resilient, theologically imaginative spiritual community that sustains us and inspires us as we navigate what's to come and what is needed. And there is so much needed. From supporting access to reproductive care to showing up through UU the Vote to elect leaders that will work to protect our children, our planet, our future, and our deeply held values. It also matters that we attend to doing the fundamentals of religious community, like supporting children and families recovering from, and in some cases still experiencing, the collective trauma of the last few years. Our world needs our message of love and justice. Our world needs brave, bold, and loving communities that are in the struggle for equity, dignity, and compassion. One way to join with your sibling Unitarian Universalists in this work is through UU the Vote. You can find out more at uuthevote.org. Your Unitarian Universalist Association is the embodiment of the covenant that all of our congregations make to each other to support each other. And the UUA is here because of your commitment to make and support and amplify our values, to support each of our congregations in their time of need, and to be more than any of us are alone. At the UUA, we are committed to being steadfast partners with you in this liminal time and in all that is ahead. As you gather in this sacred hour and join again in community, may we each remember the hundreds and thousands of Unitarian Universalists that are gathering all across our association, celebrating and calling themselves back into the power and the possibility of faithful community. For we are not alone, and we make each other strong. I send you my love and my blessings as we enter this new congregation year and celebrate in gathering. Much love and deep care to all of you.
And now I would like to invite, first I want to introduce, we're going to call in the directions and the earth, air, and fire and water into our sacred gathering today. And to do that, I have the help from 3 of our teenage youth, Charlie Henderson, Liam Rutherford, and Maggie Marr. So with that, what I would like to ask you to do is please, if you're willing and able, stand and join me in facing the east. We invite the direction of the east and the element of air into our sacred gathering today. We invite the gifts of the new dawn, opportunities for new beginnings and new growth, inspiration and illumination, and our relatives with wings such as the hawks and the eagles. Blessed be.
Please join me in facing the south. We invite the direction of the south and the element of fire. We celebrate the fullness of the summer sun and the life it nourishes, the snakes and the salamanders, passion and compassion. Blessed be.
Please join me in facing the west. We invite the direction of the west, the element of water. We appreciate the gifts of the setting sun and the reminder to let go of what we no longer need. Introspection and intuition, the rejuvenating power of water, the fish, and all the creatures of the sea. Blessed be.
Please join me in facing the north. We invite the direction of the north, the element of earth, to join us here today. We treasure the gifts of groundedness and acceptance, the fecundity of the earth, the changing seasons and rhythms of nature, including precious time for slowing down and heeding our inner wisdom. Blessed be.
This is the next segment of the poem that Rachel started for us earlier this morning. Aha Makav is the true name of our people, given to us by our Creator, who loosed the river from the earth and built it into our living bodies. Translated into English, Aha Makav means the river runs through the middle of our body, the same way it runs through the middle of our land. It's a poor translation, like all translations. In American minds, the logic of this image will lend itself to surrealism or magical realism. Americans prefer a magical red Indian, or a shaman, or a fake Indian in a red dress over a real native, even a real native carrying the dangerous and heavy blues of a river in her body. What threatens white people is often just dismissed as a myth. I have never been true in America, she says. America is my myth. Dorita says every text remains in mourning until it is translated. When Mojaves say the word for tears, we return to our word for river, as if our river was flowing from our eyes. A great weeping is how you might translate it, or a river of grief. But who is the translation for? And will they come to my language's four-night funeral to grieve what has been lost in my efforts at translation? When they have drunk dry my river, will they join the mourning procession across our bleached desert? The word for drought is different in many languages and lands. The ache of thirst, though, translates to all bodies along the same paths, the tongue and the throat. No matter what language you speak, no matter the color of your skin, we carry the river, its body of water in our bodies. I don't mean to imply a relationship, a visual relationship, such as a Native woman on her knees holding a box of Land O'Lakes butter, whose label has a picture of a Native woman on her knees holding a box of Land O'Lakes butter, whose label has a picture of a woman on her knees. We carry the river, its body of water in our body. I do not mean to invoke the Drost effect. I mean river as verb, a happening. It is moving within me right now. It's not a juxtaposition. Body and water are not two unlike things. They are more than close together, side by side. They are the same thing. Body, being, energy, prayer, current, motion, medicine. The knowing comes from acknowledging that the human body has more than 6 senses. The body is beyond six senses sensual. It is always in a static state of energy, is always on the verge of praying or entering any river of movement. Energy is a moving, like a river, moving my moving body.
Now it is time to begin collecting our waters together. So we will sing and we will move. So if you are in the commons and maybe you remember to bring a little bit of water, I invite you to move to the direction where your water either comes from geographically or what comes from metaphorically. We called in the directions and talked of the meaning of the directions, and maybe one of those speaks to you more. We also have vases of water at each station. So if you didn't bring water, you're still welcome to pour some. And if you are joining us on Zoom today, I invite you to type in the chat which direction you are gathering with us from. Let us sing, let us move.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. Next is heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. Last is mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing in my soul.
Part 3. In Mojave thinking, body and land are the same. The words are separated only by letters. Emat for body, Amat for land. In conversation, we often use a shortened form for each, mat. Unless you know the context of a conversation, you might not know if we are speaking about our body or our land. You might not know which has been injured, which is remembering, which is alive, which was dreamed, which needs care, which has vanished. If I say, my river is disappearing, do I also mean my people are disappearing? How can I translate, not in words, but in belief, that a river is a body, as alive as you or I, that there can be no life without it? John Berger wrote, true translation is not a binary affair between two languages, but a triangular affair. The third point of the triangle being what lay behind the words of the original text before it was written. True translation demands a return to the pre-verbal. Between the English translation I offered and the urging I felt first to type aha macabre in the lines below is not the point where this story ends or begins. We must go to the place before those 2 points. We must go to the third place, that is the river. We must go to the point of the lance our Creator stabbed into the earth, and the first river bursting from the clay body into mine. We must submerge beneath those once warm red waters, now channeled, blue and cool. The current's endless yards of emerald silk, wrapping the body and moving it, swift enough to take life or give it. We must go until we smell the black root wet, anchoring the river's mud banks. What is this third point, this place beyond the surface, if not the deep cut and crooked bone bed where the Colorado River runs, like a 1,450-mile thirst into and through a body? Berger calls it the pre-verbal. Pre-verbal as in the body, when the body was more than a body. Before it could name itself body and be limited to the space body indicated. Pre-verbal is the place where the body was yet a green-blue energy greening, greened and bluing the stone, the floodwaters, the razorback fish, the beetle, and the cottonwoods and willows' shaded shadows. Pre-verbal was when the body was more than a body and possible. One of the possibilities was to hold a river within it.
Now it is time to gather our water from the 4 directions into our central bowl. 4 of our board members are going to do that for us. And I also have a bowl or a container of water from our bird bath. So it's both the rain of today and the place where people who could not be here in person today were invited to pour their water. Because we are beyond who is gathered in this space always. So let us pour the water. Oh, it's Ryan. Ryan, it's water. So we have this water and this feathers and bits of grass and all kinds of things alive in it. And we gather this as a Unitarian Universalist ritual for now several generations. We gather water to remind ourselves of all of the gifts that we bring together and how we create something new again and again and again in community. So in this water, I see the people who spent 4 hours yesterday putting up our manta ray tent. In this water, I see the people who show up to visit one another when they're sick. In this water, I see our AV team and how they make it work somehow again and again, even when the sound is weird. I see the people who show up to committee meetings when they're not even paid to be there. I get paid to show up to those things. Who do the work, who chop the vegetables for pasties and care for children and make photocopies and sing along on Sunday mornings. And I see everybody being generous with their gifts, whether that is music or an eye for numbers and details, an ability to reset the chairs in the commons in a way that makes sense, or with their money. So I invite you to continue to be the generous people that you are, filling this bowl with your talent, your time, and your treasure. The offering will now be received. Please continue to be generous.
I'm going to break out an old song of mine today from 1989, which I wrote after going on a whale watch. And it seemed like being a water service and given everything that's been happening on the planet this summer, it'd be a good day to do it. And it's called For the Ocean, and goes like this. Out in the morning, the boat is leaving, takes us out to sea. The captain says that he doesn't know what the waters may reveal today. There's many ways that the winds may blow, and the sky could turn to gray. And the sky could turn to gray. We see humpbacks, we see dolphins, we see finbacks, we see minks. And I wonder what will happen if we don't stop dumping, don't stop poisoning, don't start caring for the ocean. But I know it's not ours to take, ours to ruin. The same old line doesn't work anymore, because our dominion is faltering, leaving me wondering, what does this world hold in store for us? Tell me, what does this world hold in store for us? And wait for us. And wait for us. And wait.
Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. From the countless gifts we each give, gifts of life and love, and we bring these small portions to share in the works of love, which none of us can accomplish alone. And now our poem continues. A river is a body of water. It has a foot, an elbow, a mouth. It runs. It lies in a bed. It can make you good. It remembers everything. America is a land of bad math and science. The right believes rapture will save them from the violence they're delivering upon the earth and water. The left believes technology, the same technology wrecking the earth and water, will save them from the wreckage or help them build a new world on Mars. If I was created to hold the Colorado River, to carry its rushing inside me, how can I say who I am if the river is gone? What does aha macabre mean if the river is emptied to the skeleton of its fish and the miniature sand dunes of its dry, silted beds? If the river is a ghost, am I? Unsoothable thirst is one type of haunting. A phrase popular or more known to non-natives during the Standing Rock encampment was, "Water is the first medicine." It is true. Where I come from, we cleanse ourselves in the river, not like a bath with soap. I mean, the water makes us strong and able to move forward into what is set before us to do with good energy. We cannot live good. We cannot live at all without water. If we poison and use up our water, how will we cleanse ourselves of these sins? To thirst and to drink is how one knows they are alive and grateful. To thirst and then not drink is... If your builder could place a small red bird in your chest to beat as your heart, is it so hard for you to picture the blue river hurtling inside the slow muscled curves of my long body? Is it too difficult to believe it is as sacred as a breath, or a star, or a sidewinder, or your own mother, or your lover? If I could convince you, would our brown bodies and our blue rivers be more loved and less ruined? The Wanganui River in New Zealand now has the same legal rights of a human being. In India, the Ganges and Yamuna rivers now have the same legal status of a human being. Slovenia's constitution now declares access to clean drinking water to be a national human right. While in the US, we are tear gassing and rubber bulleting and kenneling natives trying to protect their water from pollution and contamination at Standing Rock in North Dakota. We have yet to discover what the effects of lead-contaminated water will be on the children of Flint, Michigan, who have been drinking it for years.
People's Church is a community that supports one another. One of the ways that we do that is by taking time during our gatherings to share the joys, sorrows, and milestones of our lives. If you have a joy or sorrow or milestone you wish to share, if you are on Zoom, I invite you to type it into the chat box. If you are in person, I invite you to come forward, speak briefly, share your name, keep your mask on, or you can just place a stone in our water. On the strength of water. The strength of water takes on many, many forms, just as each of you has a unique and necessary strength that you bring to our community and to the work of love. Take a moment to drop down into the deep wellspring of your own spirit and bathe yourself in the strength that is the groundwater of your person. Are you a tiny drip of water in a crevice, breaking it open slowly by sheer force of will? Are you buoyant, like a great salt lake practiced at holding others aloft? Are you tenacious, like the mountain stream finding your way down and around every obstacle in your path? Are you still and calm as a pond at daybreak, offering radiant peace by your shores? Are you in touch with hidden depths, pulling from a vast well? Do you soothe like the steam rising from a cup of tea? Do you dissolve away stubborn muck like water left in a pot to soak? Do you soften and smooth the edges like a creeping fog? Do you clear away distraction like a cleansing rain? Do you roll with the ebb and flow like the ocean waves? Settle upon your strength, whatever it is. Know your power. Draw that strength into your heart and up into your soul. As we gather together the many waters of this community, we need all of you, all of your power, everyone's strength. The love that everyone brings is what makes us whole. And now, I invite those of you who wish to receive a blessing from this bowl of water that we have gathered, a symbol of our strength, our power, our resilience, our love, our wholeness. So Diane and I will be offering blessings. We'll be taking water and tracing a heart on your palm, so then you can carry it with you if you like. And if you don't want to have this water of possibly dubious origin put on your body, which is fine, we can offer blessings in words as well. And so you can come up and just have your hand gently closed and we will know what you want, or a tight fist, whatever. And so first I'm going to offer a blessing to our Zoom community. Dear ones, may you know yourselves to be loved and whole and holy and a vital part of this community and the world. And those of you who are in the space, I invite you to come up the side aisles and go back through the center aisle. If moving is hard, wave an arm and we'll come and get you near the end, or somehow make yourself known. And we will sing as we do this. So hopefully that all makes sense. I think we've figured out the logistics, right? Okay.
Come into the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Come into the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Come into the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Flowing down, down, down. shines in the healing rivers. Rivers of grace, love shines in the healing rivers. Rivers of grace, shines in the healing rivers. Rivers of grace flowing down, down, down to my soul. Forgiveness flows in these rivers. Rivers of grace, forgiveness flows in these rivers. Rivers of grace, forgiveness flows in these rivers. Rivers of grace flowing down, down, down to my soul. Come bathe in the healing rivers. Rivers of grace, come bathe in the healing rivers. Rivers of grace, come bathe in the healing rivers. Rivers of grace flowing down, down, down to my soul. Come into the healing rivers. Rivers of grace, come into the healing rivers. Rivers of grace, come into the healing rivers. Rivers of grace flowing down, down, down to my soul. Flowing down, down, down to my soul.
We think of our bodies as being all that we are. I am my body. This thinking helps us to disrespect water, air, land, one another. But water is not external from ourselves. It is not external from our bodies. My elders say, cut off your ear and you will live. Cut off your hand and you will live. Cut off your leg and you can still live. Cut off our water and we will not live much more than a week. The water we drink, like the air we breathe, is not a part of our body, but it is our body. What we do to one, to the body, to the water, we do to the other. Toni Morrison writes, all water has a perfect memory and is forever trying to get back to where it was, back to the body of the earth, of flesh, back to the mouth, the throat, back to the womb, back to the heart, to its blood, back to our grief, back to when we were more than we have lately become. We will soon remember from where we've come, the water, And once remembered, will we return to that first water? And in doing so, return to ourselves, to each other, better, cleaner. Do you think the water will forget what we have done and what we continue to do?
Oh, no, sorry. Please stand if you're willing and able. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. My blue boat home. My blue boat home.
So we didn't get the slides up, did we, for that last one? And that kind of feels like a bit of a metaphor, right? We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen. It is not what we predict or expect. And yet we can sway and listen and have a good time. And I can guarantee you that the lack of slides will be one of the smaller mistakes of this church year. I don't know what the big ones will be, but we will find them together. And when we do, we will do our best to move forward with integrity and with joy. So let us go in peace and go in love. It is a joy to be together in this way.